Marian here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to share my experience with being diagnosed with hypothyroidism because it's something that's really common in women and something that can happen during pregnancy. So I wanted to share my experience, how diagnoses were missed, and symptoms that went unattended to, and just kind of share that all with you in case anyone else out there is struggling with this, having similar symptoms, doesn't know what's going on. I just wanted to share what happened with me. So let's jump in. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Marian. I make videos about being a mom and being a Jewish mom. I have 2 little boys and I am pregnant with another little boy. So keeping my hormones balanced and my thyroid balanced is all very important and top of my mind right now. So I wanted to share a little bit about that journey with you. So my whole life, ever since I guess I was a teenager, I had borderline low thyroid, and that didn't really mean anything, but when I had like symptoms come up that were the same that came with hypothyroidism or low thyroidism, I would always get my levels checked and they would say I was borderline, like I didn't need to do anything. It's just kind of an explanation of why certain things were the way they were in my body. So for example, I was always cold, like always cold, and hated being cold. And I always gained weight really easily and had trouble losing weight, and just sort of like some skin and hair stuff, just like not the healthiest skin and hair, and that all kind of went together. The other thing I had was like a slightly enlarged thyroid, so I would get ultrasounds on my thyroid, not very often though, just like, I'm not even sure, maybe twice in my whole life, but the doctors would always say like, oh, I think it's a little bit enlarged, and then they would check levels, everything was borderline. So basically it was this like background thing that never affected me that much and was never officially diagnosed as anything. Then I had my first son, gave birth to my first son, and suddenly postpartum I had some really extreme reactions or symptoms. Well, the first thing actually happened during pregnancy, and that is that as soon as I got pregnant, I instantly gained a ton of weight. I'm talking 20 to 30 pounds. And at the time I was probably like 120 pounds. So like a significant amount of weight within the first few weeks of pregnancy. And in my heart of hearts, like knowing my own body, I knew that it had nothing to do with eating food. Like, yes, I was eating more to help with my nausea, but not 20 to 30 pounds in 5 weeks more. I knew it was like hormones and, water and all that other stuff. But all the doctors I talked to were just like, oh no, you're eating too much. You need to eat better. You need to have a better diet so you don't gain too much weight during pregnancy. And what I learned throughout all my pregnancies was there was literally nothing I could do. The weight was just going to come on, and hopefully after the baby came, the weight would come off again so I could be more comfortable. But the doctors kind of didn't validate that experience. They were just kind of dismissing it and said I ate too much. So that's one thing that happened. Then postpartum, I had extreme constipation. Not a fun topic, but like really extreme to the point that I had to see a gastroenterologist because I couldn't manage it. After you give birth, you're told to take like stool softeners and all this stuff to help, just because most of the time your body is like kind of in a state of shock, and just to like help you go without any strain on your muscles and organs and everything. But for most women, after the first few days after giving birth, they no longer need to take those and everything kind of settles in and is back to normal. For me, it was like a few months and things were just getting worse and worse, and I had hemorrhoids and like things were just going really downhill with the constipation. It was one of the most painful experiences of my life. And when I did see a gastroenterologist, they were like, they were telling me how they're like, this like can be so much more painful than childbirth even. So anyways, I saw the gastro and they just basically prescribed like super extra strength softeners, and within a few months things kind of settled on their own and I was okay. So I thought that it was just a gastro issue. I had no idea. The doctor didn't say anything that it could be anything more. Then when I gave birth to my second son, again, I had this like extreme constipation right after giving birth. For the next few weeks, it was getting worse and worse. So I ended up with a different gastroenterologist thankfully, because the first one didn't have an appointment. And I walked in, I told my story, and she was like, you don't need to see me, you need to see an endocrinologist. This is hypothyroidism. This is postpartum hypothyroidism. So apparently, after you give birth, when you're in the postpartum period, it can happen that your thyroid gets, messed up, the levels get messed up. I was already borderline, and it was just kind of thrown over the edge. So I'm so thankful to that doctor for telling me to go see an endocrinologist, because I had no idea that the problems I was having was because of my thyroid. It is very hard to get an endocrinologist on insurance, I'll just say, in the US, at least in the Washington, D.C. area, to get appointments. The whole thing is crazy, but thankfully I finally was able to see someone. It actually ended up being like the day or two before lockdown started in 2020. I remember it was like one of my last outings, but I was so thankful that I got to see somebody. And she prescribed levothyroxine, which is a synthroid, or like a synthetic thyroid hormone, and talked about how important it was to take it every day and to monitor my thyroid levels, especially during pregnancy. And it does make me think back to the multiple pregnancies I've had with where my thyroid levels were not being checked, but who knows what would have happened. But anyway, so now that I'm pregnant, I'm taking levothyroxine. I'm taking a little bit more than usual and having my levels checked constantly. So thankfully, I don't really have too many symptoms of hypothyroidism because I'm taking the medicine. But it's definitely something that long term, I don't want to be on medicine for my whole life, like a daily pill every day. And I know there's a lot of people who talk about how diet can affect it. I've had all different diets in my life, kosher, vegan, vegetarian. I haven't noticed that one has helped or not, but I know there are specific thyroid diets and things, because it's just a common issue with women especially. So after I give birth, after postpartum and all of that, is something I'm definitely going to focus on for my health and try and figure out on a more holistic basis. But I am thankful to know what's going on and to have an endocrinologist and have someone checking levels and making sure everything's okay. So that is my kind of random story, but it has so much to do with being a woman, pregnancy, postpartum, and all that stuff. So I wanted to share the information and my personal story, especially if you're someone whose doctors are not, I don't want to say not listening, because I don't think doctors have evil intentions, but sometimes they just miss things, So if you are kind of experiencing any of these things and you've never had your thyroid checked, maybe it's something to look into. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, just sharing my personal experience. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I apologize if you hear my kids yelling in the background. They're having fun with my husband this morning. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys have experienced this, or if you've been able to, kind of correct your thyroid levels without medicine and all that. Would love to hear it all. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!